The whole world is like worried about a global recession, if not depression, because of how much Trump has undermined the sort of stability of the world's economy.
Jordan Peterson was a guest on Joe Rogan's show, The Joe Rogan Experience. This gave Sam Seder and the Majority Report the opportunity to make fun of Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan at the same time, which is always fun. So we're going to take a look at these clips of Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan's show, as well as clips from the Majority Report with Sam Seder. I have my thoughts to share on this too. Let's get into it together.
We played an ad the other day. Was it yesterday that we played this ad or 2 days ago?
Oh, Monday.
Of two old guys golfing. And like
they're really hit hard by the economy in the sense that they have to pay for their children's down payments.
Yeah. And it was a sort of a fascinating sort of throwback ad that seemed like you could literally drop it in any context. It was the most sort of generic ad. And partly it was an attempt to basically just, let's put it this way. If you're a conservative and you are putting an ad out with two old golfers,
White guys.
Yeah, with two old white golfers in North America, you are basically saying we're bleeding our own people. And it was an incredibly, like, apparently a lot of people viewed this ad, but on the internet, hard to believe that it's like these old white guys, golfers, who are watching this ad. It's more people who are just sort of laughing at each other. Like, holy crap, did you see this ad where the guy hits the golf ball and at the end he goes like, makes a double entendre that you're voting for change, and also his drive was pretty good for a change. This was hilarious, great stuff. What's happened is that Donald Trump has poisoned the chances of the conservatives in Canada to take power, because anybody associated with and anybody who has espoused the sort of the value of Donald Trump is now like toxic. And of course, for those Canadians who thought their moment of redemption was upon them, Donald Trump has ruined it for me. And I'm going to go on Joe Rogan's show and complain about it.
It's very sad, and I was hoping
they could be the 51st state.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. So two things.
Yes,
back to that.
That was the big one.
Carney showed up just in the nick of time to save the burning damsel from the train tracks, or whatever the hell it is, and
the rhetoric.
And then Trump, he just timed it so badly, and he didn't know. He didn't know what it would do. He didn't know, but that's also.
How do you not know that people have national pride?
Yeah, he knew that, but he didn't know what the electoral consequences would be. He didn't know that would shift them to the liberals so radically. And he's going to pay for that, because once Carney is elected, if that happens, Trump will
Pause it for a second. I'm sorry. I can't go this long. Keep it up. Keep up that frame. I can't go this long without commenting on his suit. Like, what is he trying to do?
I think he's supposed to be like a magician, but it's like every time he goes on.
I tried to pull a lobster out of my hat. I couldn't do it. Poor Trump. He didn't know. He didn't know what he was doing. And Carney comes in like Dudley Do-Right, saving the damsel from the train. Or whatever it is. I was
being a new candidate.
Just saving the damsel who, why does she put rouge on? Why does she have her pouty little lips with her red lipstick
She's trying to lure you to get hit by the train.
Attract Dudley Do-Right into front of the train to get hit by the train. Is that why? All right, go back a little bit. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it with that thing.
He knew that, but he didn't know what the electoral consequences would be. He didn't know that that would shift them to the Liberals so radically. And he's going to pay for that, because once Carney is elected, if that happens, Trump will not have a more seasoned enemy in the West.
I don't know about the Canadian prime minister being an enemy of the United States, although where Donald Trump has started this stupid, could we call it a Cold War with Canada, one of our absolute best allies. It's just so stupid. But Jordan Peterson actually brings up an interesting point here. And, the conservatives and MAGA types are freaking out that Donald Trump, in their minds, caused this liberal to win. This has been something that I've been concerned about for a long time, and I think other people have too. Instead of the United States becoming more like the rest of the world, that the rest of the world would become more like the United States in very negative ways with these right-wing authoritarian leaders. And it looked for a little while like we were in some danger of that. And now that seems to be, there were several around the world that were trying to be like Donald Trump and trying to emulate him and all of that. But it's looking like hopefully maybe that is backfiring, much to the chagrin of people like Jordan Peterson. But that could be a good thing for the world.
Boy.
Right. Carney's very well connected. Very. Especially in Europe.
I'm just also curious, why is Joe Rogan so sad about this? He's sitting there sighing. I mean, I know Joe Rogan's just an independent. He doesn't have any type of ideology.
Right.
He just seems very, very invested in Canada electing a conservative.
An enemy in the West is just such a weird way to think about this, but
In our own backyard. Well, not our backyard. I'm actually from Canada.
it's funny because it sounds like, to me, I know they're saying it as a bad thing, but it sounds to me like that's why Canadians are going to vote for him, is because he's a obstacle to Trump.
Yeah.
Trump will not have a more seasoned enemy in the West.
Boy.
Right? Carney's very well connected. Very. Especially in Europe and the UK. Very well. So, and
Europe and the UK is a mess.
What are they even talking about? What does that mean? Like, it's very well connected. He's going to be the leader of a country that is subject to Donald Trump's tariffs, like the rest of Europe. And there's already a concerted effort to sort of reorient Canada to Europe.
And potentially China. And then who's the mess? Is it everybody else but us?
I wonder also, yeah, exactly. I wonder, I'm trying to even understand, what Rogan's trying to say there. He's connected to Europe and the UK. Yeah, and they're a mess. What is that? Okay. What does he mean they're a mess?
Like in terms of
the whole country is, the whole world is worried about a global recession, if not depression, because of how much Trump has undermined the sort of stability of the world's economy. And with no seeming benefit to the United States, mind you. This is not a situation of hey, we no longer have to be the economic babysitter for the rest of the world at our expense. It is, we're no longer going to be the economic babysitter for the rest of the world, and we're going to also do it at our expense.
Yeah, we need a babysitter.
I mean, Trump's economy, his narrow economy, his family's economy seems to be doing quite well. Somebody certainly is riding the wave on all this sort of stock market dips and whatnot.
Oh, that's for sure.
We've highlighted all the arrests in the UK over social media posts, and most people have no idea.
Wait, what? So Peterson I mean, to his credit, he's dressed like a carny barker. However, I can see that when Donald Trump has gone off the rails and Canada wants to find a new import-export partner, it might be looking to the UK or to Europe. And I'll laugh along when Joe says they're a mess. And then Joe says people are getting arrested by social media posts. Wait, what? Oh, right. Right. And we wouldn't want Canada to have relations with what is it? Oh, and you know what else is happening? And then if Joe's very worried about the people getting arrested for social media posts in UK, wait till he finds out what's happening in this country.
That's what I'm saying.
To people who are writing like op-eds or protesting against Israel's genocide. He's going to freak out once he reads the news. Go back just
what he's talking about in the UK is people that were spreading misinformation, hateful misinformation about Muslims, leading to riots.
That's the big point. I was going to say this, but what Matt Leck says here, and Sam Seder seems to be kind of off target with it, thinking that it's something economic. But much of this also has to do with immigration. The right-wing narrative is that Europe and the UK are being overrun by immigrants from Africa, Muslim immigrants, and they're losing their whiteness. That's the big key here, that people like Jordan Peterson and particularly Tucker Carlson and, you know, so many of these other figures on the right, that they are constantly talking about all of the mass migration in their minds to Europe and the UK from Muslims. And it's the same thing as here with, you know, we're being invaded by El Salvador or whatever, Venezuela. And so I suspect that's a lot of what they're talking about, Joe Rogan, and probably less so Joe Rogan, but more Jordan Peterson, that Europe is being invaded by Muslims and the UK also being invaded by Muslims. I'm sure Sam Seder is aware of this, but he seems to be thinking of it more in economic terms. But what do you think about all of this? These right-wing figures like Jordan Peterson and others being worried that Canada, I mean, he's Canadian, so, you know, he has a vested interest just in terms of being a citizen of that country and what happens in Canada, more so than just right-wing MAGA figures who are Americans. But it is interesting that maybe an election was influenced by Donald Trump just being a moron who picked a fight with Canada. Is Jordan Peterson right about that? And do you like Sam Seder's impression of Jordan Peterson? That's why I like to play these videos. I enjoy hearing I enjoy hearing Sam Seder's impression of Jordan Peterson. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, and make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.